everybody, welcome. Now today we are going to be learning about an animal that you've probably seen pictures of before. I would love to know if you've ever seen one in real life though, because I have not. Now this animal is tall, it's spotted, it's kind of lanky, kind of like me, long arms, long neck, alright? Do you know what we're talking about? Well, if you can read what's up here on the screen, you may already have a clue. Today, we're going to learn about giraffes. Yeah, I know. Now don't get too excited, okay? I'm very excited as well. But we're going to try to learn as much as we can, alright? And we're going to have some fun doing it. Now I've got some cool information about giraffes, stuff that I didn't know, stuff that maybe you didn't know, and hopefully we'll all be able to learn together. So, when you think about giraffes, what do you think about mostly? Maybe they walk on four legs. That's good. Maybe they are yellow kind of colored. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe they're real skinny, right? They're real bony looking. Yeah, that's right. But are they tall or short? Are giraffes tall or short? That's right. They are tall, right? And not only that, did you know that they are the tallest land animal on Earth? Yes, there is no other animal taller than a giraffe. Look how tall that giraffe is. Look at this giraffe. Look at it. He's standing out over top all those zebra. You can't even see those. Those zebra are like little babies compared to that giraffe. They are the tallest land animal on Earth. Giraffes average around 17 feet tall. What? 17 feet tall? Oh my goodness. And you know what's wild? A baby giraffe, they start off at about 6 feet tall. Are you kidding me? Look at these. There's a little giraffe. That giraffe is taller than you. It's taller than me. And that's a baby. A full-grown giraffe, almost 17, maybe some are taller even. Maybe some are even like 20 feet tall. Can you imagine being that tall? Hopefully you don't have to walk through any doorways. You'd probably hit your head, wouldn't you? Now, we're going to talk about, have you ever heard of a scientific name? Okay. Every animal has a scientific name. Even humans, even people, we have a scientific name. Our scientific name is called Homo sapien. Have you ever heard the word Homo sapien? Homo sapien is the scientific name for humans. Okay, now the scientific name for giraffes, listen to this. Giraffa camelopardalis. Camelopardalis. Giraffa camelopardalis. What? That's a funny name. Camelopardalis. That almost sounds like camel, maybe? And maybe there's even another word in there. Camelopardalis. It's kind of a tongueful, isn't it? I hear both camel and I hear leopard. Well, listen, that's not a mistake. It's because people a long time ago thought that a giraffe was a cross between a camel and a leopard. What? Well, it's because of the giraffe has long legs, a long neck, and it has spots. Let's look. Let's see how. Let's see. Well, that's interesting. So look at that. You got your camel there on the left, right, and on the right you got your leopard. Look at that camel. I can kind of see the semblance, right? The similarities between a giraffe and a camel. Look at that. He's got that long neck. He's got those long legs. And then if you look at that, look at those leopards. They're spotted. They kind of look like a giraffe, right? Don't they? They kind of look like, I mean, can you see how maybe they are kind of similar looking? So the scientific name for giraffe, Giraffa camelopardalis. All right? And that means they thought it was a mix between a camel and a leopard. Now we know it's not, but it doesn't mean that they weren't far off. Look at that. I can see how they look the same. Now where do they live? Does anybody know where giraffes live? Do giraffes live in New Jersey? Nope. Maybe at a zoo. Do giraffes live in Antarctica? No. That doesn't look like Antarctica, does it? Do giraffes live in Africa? Well, guess what? Yes, they do. Their main place that they live is actually in Africa, in the savannas. Okay? And if you don't know where the savannas are, we're going to show you. But so there's Africa, right? And if you see these kind of yellow marked areas, those are the two spots in Africa where really most of the giraffes will roam. And it's because in those areas in Africa, they have a lot of savannas. Do you know what a savanna is? A savanna is a biome, right? A savanna is is a type of landscape, okay? So we don't have savannas in the United States, really. There are savannas in lots of different parts of the world, but in Africa especially, okay? Now, you may be asking what a savanna is. Well, a savanna, okay, that is an area where there's a lot of grass and there's lots of trees, but the trees are spaced out, okay? So if you look here, see all that grass there, and you see that tree off in the distance, okay? Here's another example of a savanna, okay? Look at that, wide open spaces. Isn't that crazy? So these are savannas. And this is where you would most likely see giraffes, okay? Doesn't that look beautiful? I think so too. Yeah, that's really nice. So giraffes like savannas where there's lots of grass and there's lots of trees, but the trees are spaced out. It's not like a forest, right, where there's trees really tight together. No, there's lots of trees, but they're wide open, lots of spaced out areas, okay? Now, why is it important that there's trees? Well, because giraffes are what? Are they short or tall? They're tall, okay? And so, how do you think they're able to eat off of trees? Probably pretty well, right? Because they're tall, they can reach where other animals can't, right? Now, guess what though? Not only that, they have a special tool for eating off of trees. Okay? They have a special tool, and guess what it is? It's their tongue! Look at that tongue! Giraffes have long tongues, and it helps them to yank leaves off of the trees. Isn't that interesting? So they have extra long tongues, and that helps them to wrap around the branches and to pull those branches and leaves off, right? Isn't that interesting? Wow. I don't have a tongue that long, do you? All right, now guess what else they have? There's an interesting thing, okay? Look at this giraffe. What do you notice? Maybe he's got a long snout, like a long mouth and nose, right? Yep. He's got, those are pretty big ears, aren't they? He's got some big ears. Probably good for hearing, but also maybe we'll learn more about big ears someday. But big ears are important in hot climates because they help dissipate heat. All right. What else do you notice though? What's that on top of his head? What does he have on there? Look at those. What are these are those horns? They kind of look like horns, don't they? They got tufts of hair coming out the top of them. I've got tufts of hair sometimes coming out of my head, but I don't have like a horn, okay? Look at those. That is called an ossicone. A what? An ossicone. Those are bony knobs. Do you know what a knob is? A knob is kind of like a little horn, okay? Those are bony knobs, and they're on the top of their head, and they're called ossicones, all right? Now, guess what? Guess what? There are different ossicones for males and females, for boy and girl giraffes, okay? A girl giraffe, look at that. Girl giraffe has hair on the top of her ossicones, all right? Kind of like a fashion statement, maybe. So she's got hair on the top of her ossicones, but males, look at those. See how there's no hair coming out the top, no tufts of hair? So they have bald knobs there, okay? And again, those are called ossicones, and those are just bony knobs coming out the top of their heads, all right? And the girls have hair on theirs, and the boys do not have hair on theirs. Isn't that interesting? I think it'd be funny to have some of those, right? All right, now let's talk about how giraffe looks, right? Look at this color pattern on that female giraffe, right? She's got those spots. What do you notice about the color of the giraffe and the color of the grass and the landscape where she is? Do they look kind of similar? Yeah. Well, that's intentional, okay? Because their spots help camouflage them. Do you know what camouflage means? Camouflage is when you blend into your environment. So if you're out in the woods, maybe you wear green camouflage, okay? If you know somebody that likes to hunt, okay, you wear camouflage when you go hunting so that you're harder to see. Look at this. Do you see how that giraffe kind of blends in to the environment? I mean, you can see that there's a giraffe there. It's a big old animal. But look at that. Its spots kind of match the environment that it's in, right? All right, now in this next picture, I want you to see how quickly you can spot the giraffe. Maybe I'm tricking you. Maybe there's not even a giraffe there. All right, you ready? Let's see. Does anybody see a giraffe? Do you see it? Yeah, look. Right there in the top of the screen. Do Do you see that giraffe? Isn't that wild? It's hard to see, isn't it? That's because its spots are made for blending into this environment, okay? It's camouflage. The giraffe, even though it's really, really big, look how well hidden that giraffe is, even though that's a huge animal, right? Isn't that crazy? Wow. All right, so they can hide even though they're big. They have good spots that help them hide in their environment. All right, we talked about their ossicones on the top of their head, right? We talked about how tall they are. Well, remember what we talked about is because they are so tall, what can they do? They can eat the leaves way up in the trees, right? Look at this. Wow. And guess what? If you're another animal, if you're a smaller animal, can you eat the leaves off that tree? Nope. Nope, you're not going to be able to eat the leaves off that tree. It's too tall. But look at that giraffe. He was made for eating those leaves off that tall tree, isn't he? Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Now, that type of tree is actually a special type of tree that the giraffes love to eat, okay? Because they eat a lot, all right? We're going to talk about that. They eat a lot. They spend all day eating, all right? And we'll tell you how much. They love this specific type of tree, though. It's called an acacia tree. Look at that. There's another example. Yeah, look at that. Here's another example. They love these trees. It's their favorite kind of tree to eat. All right, and so luckily in the savannah where they live, there's lots of these acacia trees. And look how tall. They can eat all the way to the top branches. Isn't that crazy? Now guess what? I said they like to eat a lot. Giraffes, they will eat all day long. They will just, no, that's all they do. Do they go to school? Nope, they eat. Do they go to work? Nope, they eat. Do they go to the gym and work out? Nope, they eat. Do they have parties with their giraffe friends? Probably so, but what are they doing? They're eating. All day, giraffes eat. And guess what? They will eat, listen to this, they will eat 100 pounds of leaves and twigs every single day. What? 100 pounds of leaves and twigs every day? Every single day. If I ate 100 pounds of leaves and twigs, I would blow up, all right? 100 pounds, that might be even more than some of you weigh. That means a giraffe is eating some of you every single day. Your weight in leaves and twigs. Isn't that crazy? That's a lot. That's a lot of eating. But guess what? That's all they do. All they do is walk around and eat. Kind of a funny lifestyle, isn't it? All right, now, giraffes, they after all that eating, right, they've got to sleep, right? They've got to sleep. This giraffe family here, okay, they have to sleep, but they don't sleep long, all right? Because what are they mostly doing? They're mostly eating. So see this giraffe family? They're on the lookout. They're making sure there's no predators, no animals, nobody that's going to try to hurt them, okay? And giraffes can actually sleep standing up. Did you know that? Can you sleep standing up? I can't. If I fell asleep standing up, I would fall down and hurt myself. I'm sure of it. Giraffes can sleep standing up, and guess what else? They only sleep for about 2 hours each day. What? 2 hours? If I got 2 hours of sleep, I might fall asleep right here at the desk. Oh my goodness. I need about 8 hours of sleep, right? Giraffes only need 2 hours of sleep, and sometimes they even sleep standing up. Wow. But see how they're all together there and they look out for each other? Now look, does one of those giraffes look smaller than the other ones? Yep. Yep, that would be a baby giraffe, or maybe more of like a kid giraffe. It's not really a baby necessarily, right? But remember we mentioned that even when they're born, giraffes are tall? Giraffes, when they're born, are about 6 feet tall, and they can weigh over 150 pounds. We're talking about a baby that is 6 feet tall and 150 pounds. When I was a baby, I might have been 1.5 feet tall and maybe 8 pounds, right? I'm not exactly sure, but that's probably a pretty good guess. So we're talking about giraffes. They are way, way bigger than a baby human when it's born. Isn't that wild? Wow. And there they are with their family, right? Now, giraffes, they live a while, okay? They live for about 25 years out in the wild. So it's not as long as humans live, but most animals don't live as long as humans live, okay? Giraffes live about 25 years. That's a long time for an animal out in the wild. And, you know, the thing is about giraffes, look at these guys. See, they have their watering hole, and notice that they're not by themselves. There's other animals around. That's because animals have learned to live together. They live in peace and harmony, and they, animals hunt each other, and animals, fight each other sometimes, but they know how to live together naturally, okay, in their environment. And we need to take care of giraffes, okay? All animals, but we need to take care of giraffes because that's what our lesson's about. We need to take care of them because their numbers have started to decline over the years, okay? There used to be a lot more giraffes in the world than there are today, all right? And that's for lots of different reasons. But, if we all stop for a minute and think about how we want to keep them on Earth with us forever, we want to take care of them, we want to treat them right. See how well they get along with the other animals? If we could learn to get along with animals as well as animals get along with each other, we might have a lot of giraffes around for a long time. Wow. Guys, hey, I hope you learned a lot about giraffes. I know I did. If I ever grow to be 20 feet tall, I'll let you know what it's like. But until then, we're going to have to just imagine what it might be like to be a giraffe. We learned how tall they are. We learned how much they eat. We looked at their colors. We saw how well camouflaged they are. A lot we went over with giraffes. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I did. And I hope that you'll join me again for some more lessons. But until then, keep on learning because there's a lot to learn. So you better get started. Bye, everybody.